I don't remember the last time I made a video, but a whole heck of a lot has happened. In fact, so much has happened that I made a list. Item 1, KM. KM is a girl that kind of bullied me in middle school. I don't remember it too well, but I think the way I summed it up at the time is basically that she didn't want to be friends with me, which is fair because like I'm super lame. But we had a friend group in common, so she would just like exclude us all the time, and sometimes it got pretty bad, I think. Although it was rare that she outright insulted me or anything like that. And apparently she's still an awful person. Because on Thursday, I think, during PE, three girls were sitting against the wall. KM sat down next to one of them. Then, about a minute later, they got up to find their fourth friend. And Casey got all mad because she wanted to talk to one of the girls. But she, I guess, hadn't done a very good job indicating that, at least from my perspective. And so she said that she was going to go talk to them. I followed her because I was curious, I guess. And so she went over, and I couldn't exactly hear what she was talking about, but she was kind of yelling. And the second girl, one of the friends, came over and started defending the first girl, the one that she was yelling at. And they were, and she was like, "No one even likes you, KM." I think, well, before that, KM was like, for somehow it had turned to like her telling her what a terrible friend she was and whatnot. And eventually, the part where the friend says, "Nobody even likes you, KM," except no one calls her KM, and just privacy protection, I guess. And she's like, "What are you talking about? Name three people who don't like me." And I was like, and I butted in and was like, I don't like you, KM." And she didn't exactly say this, but she was kind of like, "Well, of course you don't, because all of that stuff." And then the next day, Kira heard about it because apparently, someone in my gym class was being a snoop and saw the whole thing and then told her about it. And she liked me very much for that because, like, it was a good comeback, I guess. Um, yeah, so that was interesting, I guess. But Kira's always, like, involved in the drama, so. Next, substitutes. I've been getting a lot of substitute in my classes. That's all there is to it. In English and in history, and I'm gonna get one in gym soon. And yesterday there was one in orchestra, but that's to be expected because, like, he has, like, a meeting or whatever once a month, head of department and all that. Third thing, in Spanish class, we're learning the preterite tense, and learning verb tenses is always like kind of stressful for me because you gotta memorize a lot of new stuff, and it's a little bit more difficult for me to like conceptualize, but it's going pretty well. Don't know why I felt like mentioning that, but like I did. For midterms, everyone's all stressed about midterms. I think some people have already started studying, which is pretty crazy. They're gonna be the last week of the month. I think Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, which is the 1st of February. Pretty sure. So I'm gonna start studying next week, and I already planned which subjects I'm gonna study which days, just because I felt like I needed to do something. I decided I'm only gonna study for 4 subjects: Spanish, math, science, and history, because those are the only ones that I feel like I have something to study. Like with English, it's just like knowing how to write and interpret things, which you can't exactly study. 5, in PE class lately, we have been doing the fitness tests, and that includes the pacer test. Yeah, that's a thing. And I did on all of them, I did just slightly better than I did earlier in the year, which I am pretty proud of. Apparently, I'm just like really good at push-ups or something, cause like for most of the things, I'm like one of the first people to give up. Like I'm one of the worst people in my class, but for push-ups, they were like 7 girls who gave up before I did. So I'm pretty darn proud of that. I'm still not the best, but like not by a long shot, but it was a good moment for me, I suppose. 6, physical therapy. I met with my physical therapist Thursday. I thought I was going to meet with him Wednesday, but no, I met with him Thursday. In fact, I even missed the bus and everything on Wednesday. It kind of sucked. And he told me that I already know all the things I need to know, that I just need to practice them. So I'm going to be meeting with him less often, which is good for mom because she doesn't have to miss work. He kind of made it sound like I don't really have to meet with him much, like, at all, but I don't know about that. Or, like, despite that, we're still going to meet every few weeks. But I'm kind of glad about that because I've always felt like these meetings aren't exactly like good use of time. Like usually he just has me do the things and he points out like one thing I'm doing wrong and that's about it. 7. On Friday, right before math class, uh ZB, who's kind of kooky, I guess, came up to me and said, "Hey, this is HD's lunchbox. Can you give it to her?" And I was like, "Let me think. Do I have any classes with her?" And I genuinely could not remember. I was like, "No, I don't think so." And she said, "Okay, well, can you give this to her if you pass her in the hallway?" And I was like, "Okay." And like they're friends, so I don't really see why she couldn't have done that. But nonetheless, I went to math class and I decided that I would text HG to tell her I have her lunchbox and to meet me central staircase second floor. And she replied, yeah. And so then at the end of the period, I went over there and she was coming down the staircase. And I was like, I have no idea what happens, or ZB just gave me this. And she said that ZB had stolen her lunchbox, which is like the type of thing she would do, but then I guess like never gave it back to her. Like usually she gives it back after like 2 minutes, but I guess in this case she didn't. So I hope her lunch, like, I actually have no idea how long it was stolen for. Like this could have been like the remains of yesterday's lunch in there or whatever, and then she wouldn't have had anything to eat. But I don't know about that. So today on Scratch, I found this thing where you could like buy items from other users using a basically fictional currency. It's actually like a really minor cryptocurrency, like exclusively made for this purpose. And um I decided to set up a dumb little store where you could like I could write things for you, like short stories and poems, and also provide editing and advice on things that other people wrote. And I don't know, I'm just hoping this isn't going to take up a lot of my time because I already do a lot of things, but I don't think it will. Like it's not, this whole system isn't super popular. For whatever reason in the library, yeah, that's what I'm going to call it. We have a pile of discarded lamps. I don't know why. I mean, they decided to put all our old lamps that we don't use in a pile. And lastly, the past like 2, maybe 3 days, interesting thing has happened where I've actually had like, despite the fact that we only have one piece, I've actually had like a lot to practice, and I've even like practiced over the amount of time that I usually do, just because I like get super into it, and that's new and exciting for me. So stay dry, my friends.